Hey everybody, how are you? This is Nick Sarnicola, one of the co-founders of ViSalus and The Challenge and the new blockbuster product Neon. I'm coming to you to talk to you guys about March to Equity and the Founders Equity Pool and what this means to you and your family potentially. In order for me to tell you the future and what we're doing with this, I got to take you back 10 years to the past. 10 years ago when we started this company, ViSalus, we had no sales, we had no track record, we had nothing to point to as a reason for people to follow us, but we took 6% equity and we put it on the table. And the grand majority of families out there and quote unquote experts out there, they said, it'll never work, you're wasting your time, they're too young, they're too this, they're too that, they'll never pull it off. But there was a series of families that did believe in us, that did put their faith in us, that did run with us. And they got the company off the ground, we got it successful, and in 2008 we were able to sell ViSalus to a $1 billion a year holding company that owned multiple direct selling companies by the name of Blythe. And that transaction was a 4-year transaction. Now, during that journey, my partners and I, we created The Challenge. In 2010, it really took off. By 2012, we did $620 million in sales. We were the #1 meal replacement shake in North America. It was just a blockbuster, run. Unbelievable. And all of those people that believed in us in 2005, those very few people that believed in us and stayed with us, because there were some people that, were there that believed us in the beginning, but then said, you know what, I don't see this equity turning into anything. Mainly because people, gave them great advice who really don't even have equity in their own homes, let alone know anything about equity of a business. And they left the company. But the ones who stayed, we told them, if you'll help us 15x this company, you all become millionaires. And they all did. In fact, a couple hundred people split up nearly $30 million. And, I think of like the Knight family, who, she was a second grade teacher. He's retired Air Force. They made several $100,000 in that equity. I think of another family in the same area, one who's a second grade teacher and a retired military, the McCoy family who made well over $500,000. I think of the Owens family out of Colorado who made $600,000 something. I think of Maggie Richardson, massage therapist teacher, made $250,000. I think of Matt Shoemaker and his family. He was 18 when he got started. He was 19 when he qualified for the equity. Him and his family all qualified, did a smart transaction, $1.1 million that they earned at our original. This is the original equity, 2005. I think of the Bunting family who made $2.5 million. I think of GJ Reynolds who made $2.2 million. I think of Brian Cummings who made $4.5 or $4.7 million. Jake Trzynski who made $5 million. This is just equity. And I could go on and on and on. The Peterson family who made $250,000. Mary Dollar, she's a dance instructor. Mary Dollar who made several $100,000 because they believed in us in 2005. Ali Sharawa who made a couple $1 million because they believed in us in 2005. We had nothing. Well, as time progressed, we became highly successful, and as I told you guys, we had sold ViSalus in 2008, but it was in a 4-year transaction. So at the end of 2012, we no longer owned the company. The company was owned by Blythe. And, we became a company that was big and more conservative, very slow to make decisions because Blythe was a publicly traded company, highly intelligent, highly successful people, highly productive group of people. It was a different culture, say, than the ViSalus culture or the culture of myself, Blake, and Ryan. And for whatever reasons, we weren't having the same success in 2013 and beyond that we're having in 2012. And myself, Blake, and Ryan looked at each other and we said, hey, we don't hunt, we don't fish, and we don't golf. And at that point, in 2013, we were 32, 34, and 36. Fast forward to today, we looked at each other and said, well, what do we want to do for the rest of our lives? We had just created this idea of the challenge. It just exploded. So even the company we sold was not even the challenge company. It was a high-end supplement company. Now we've got this idea of the challenge. It's fun, it's mainstream, it's bold, it's big, it's us. What do we want to do? So the three of us made a decision to take the company, ViSalus, private again in a founder-led buyback. And myself, Blake, and Ryan spent $105 million of our family's future legacy money. So imagine I gave you a trunk full of $35 million, because it's 35 each. What would you do with that trunk of money, or that trunk of cash? It's an interesting question, right? Here's what we did. We said, well, we don't hunt, fish, or golf, so retiring's not going to be very fun. We're only the average age of 35 between the three of us. There's nothing that we would rather do than create transformations and to build ViSalus on a global level for decades to come. So we took $105 million between the three of us that was owed to us, and we bought back controlling interests of ViSalus. This was just the end of 2014. This just happened. This is a one of those decisions that you make in your lifetime that will affect millions of lives, let alone, my children and their children, and Ryan and Blake's kids and their kids. We're talking about a multi-million life decision to buy this company back. And it put us in a position of decision making and control. We're still partnered with Blythe. We're still partnered with Bob Gergen, the chairman of Blythe. Amazing people. They were our first mentors. They gave us the gift of understanding how to create a global business and how to be smart operators and fiscally sound. And now we're back in the driver's seat, the three of us, to be an innovative, entrepreneurial, aggressive company. And we were willing to risk our family's generational money for one word: equity. We were willing to risk it all for one word: equity. Would you be willing, when given a trunk full of $35 million, would you be willing to risk it all the way we were? Would you be willing to double down the way we were? And I share this with you because the march to equity and the entire idea here of equity is nothing more than the three of us buying back this company and immediately taking 6% of the equity that we just spent all of this time, energy, effort, and resources in acquiring, and offering you a chance to earn some of it. It's the most valuable thing that we have to offer. I've worked my entire life for that one word, and now we're turning around and giving it to you. How serious should you take that? How meaningful is it? And guys, we're a multiple 9-figure-a-year company. It's not like we're a startup like 10 years ago when we had no value, we had no sales, there was nothing to believe in. Now we've got 50+ millionaires. We've done nearly $2 billion in sales, $1.7 billion of it in the last 5 years. This isn't a question of, hey, is this a good idea for us to go, earn a piece of this ViSalus equity? That's not a question for your family. This is what we call a no-brainer. The only risk is to myself, Blake, and Ryan, that if this company doesn't grow because of this idea, if it doesn't explode because of this idea, that we gave all of you equity without an explosion. But we're willing to bet on you. We're willing to bet on people. We're willing to bet on smart families that understand what equity is, want to own a piece of it, want to own a piece of every country ViSalus goes into, every product that we launch, and every customer that we acquire, and the billions of dollars that we'll do in the future. Guys, we want to have this company in our families for decades to come. That's why we bought it back. And you will own a piece of every single thing that we do. If between now and the end of 2015, you can become a national director above. You can't buy this equity. You can't raise capital to get some. You can only go to work. I think of I'm right now in Grand Rapids, Michigan. This is where the largest company in direct selling history is created. A great company, fantastic mentors, and just you can't argue what they've created. A company by the name of Amway. And they do 10, 11, 12 billion dollars a year in sales. Their dividends to their shareholders are $1 billion or so a year. I mean, it's crazy. We feel that we could one day, 10, 20, 30 years from now, be as big or surpass that company. We wouldn't be in business if we didn't believe, or if that wasn't why we were trying to achieve. If that wasn't what we were trying to achieve, why would we even be here if we weren't trying to be number one? And many people will doubt and bet against the fact that we will. And that's okay. They always have for the last 10 years. But 6% of $1 billion in dividends is $60 million a year. If we can get to that size, we'll be dividending $60 million a year to those promoters that go to work right now. Let's forget about your commissions. Let's forget about your weekly and monthly commissions. Let's be $60 million a year that you and the rest of the shareholders would split up if we could go get to that size. What if we got to Herbalife size? That's like 40 million a year those shareholders would split up. What if we got to be Mary Kay size? That'd be 20 million a year those shareholders would split up every year. It's about finding the right people who want to own a piece of this company and us together going to work year after year, decade after decade, and creating the greatest company in this industry, and you'll own a piece of it. I don't care if it's, guys, I don't care if it's a small piece. 20 years from now, if you own a small piece of this company, you get a $4,000 dividend for work you did 20 years ago. You haven't even mentioned the name ViSalus in 17 years, but you got a $4,000 dividend check still? Who's happy? Who's cashing the check? See guys, this is what smart people do. Smart people, they try to own a piece. They try to own a piece. How many multiple nine-figure year companies today are offering you a shot to own a piece of their company based on your own efforts? I don't mean stock options. I mean equity, shareholder. How many nine-figure year companies, multiple nine-figure year companies are offering that shot? So recently we came out with the idea of the March to Equity. One cause, one crusade, one focus, one dream, one goal, let's go. And that March to Equity is 2,000 families. We're gonna help 2,000 families own a piece of this company. Some will own a small piece, some will own a big piece. But what is important about this 2,000 families is the ripple effect that it will cause. The ripple effect of these 2,000 families will cause this. It will cause 5 million more meals to be served to children in need. It will cause 3 million more transformations of the physical body to happen. It will cause 20,000 more people to qualify for a BMW, make an extra $1,500 to $2,000 a month on the side of their career. That's a car payment, a house payment, a big dent in their grocery bill. It will cause 2,000 families to own equity. It will cause about 1,000 families to be a six-figure a year income earner in our company. 1,000 more. And it will create another 50 to 100 millionaires. So here's what I know for sure. If you're watching this, you fit in somewhere in that spread. You either want to be one of those 3 million transformations, or you want to be one of those next 50 to 100 millionaires, or somewhere in between. So even if you can't be one of those 2,000 shareholders, maybe you're one of the BMW qualifiers and you lose 50 pounds. Maybe if you're only an equity holder but you own the little piece, who cares? You're still making a several $1,000s a month, and you're going to get a dividend with the shareholders anytime there's a dividend to shareholders. Guys, this is a no-brainer. We need 2,000 families right now that want to be shareholders. We need 2,000 families right now that want to own a piece of this. We need 2,000 families right now that get it, and that will cause the ripple effect of everything else in our company. This video is not to the people who doubt and don't believe. I've been dealing with doubt and disbelief my entire life. Anytime I said, or my partner said, or our leaders said, or my wife said we were going to achieve something, everyone doubted it. That's par for the course. This is not for the people that doubt. We will allow them to doubt for the next 18 months, for the next 17 months, for the next 16 months, while other people achieve equity and receive equity. This is for the videos for the people that just wanted to understand. They wanted to get it. They wanted another 15 minutes worth of tell me about this equity idea. Tell me what the march to equity means. Tell me what it can mean to me and my family. Tell me what it can mean to my future. It could mean owning a piece of a multiple 9-figure-a-year company that we will one day take to 10 figures a year, that we will one day take to 11 figures a year. There are 2 companies in our industry that have done it. We will be the 3rd one day. It will mean being able to pass on that ownership to your children. I want my daughter, Giovanna, writing equity checks to your children or to your grandchildren because of the work you do today. That's what I want. It will also mean the opportunity for you guys to achieve ranks in our company and make weekly and monthly income. It will also mean if we can create 2,000 families to cross the finish line, 5 million more meals served to kids, 3 million more transformations, 2,000 families in equity, 1,000 more 6-figure earners, and another 50 to 100 millionaires. Oh, I'm sorry, another 20,000 BMWs. This is what it means. If you're hungry and if you're driven, take between now and the end of 2016, excuse me, and get extremely serious about the march to equity. Get a game plan right now. Sit down for a march to equity strategy session and let us give you the blueprints to go make it happen. Or let this be yet another thing that passes you by as we explain to our kids and our grandkids about how we never had a shot. Why is it we're never lucky? Why is it we never get the opportunities? Maybe you do. Maybe you just don't recognize them, and maybe you just don't take action on them. Will this be one of those? I worked my entire life for one word, equity. I've given up everything financially for it. And now I'm giving you a shot to be our partner in equity. What will you give up for it, and how serious will you take it? Guys, I cannot wait to work with you. I cannot wait to partner with you, and I cannot wait to make you a shareholder in this company. March to equity, 2,000 families. Let's get it done. Thanks, everybody. Good luck.